In reference to McLeod and I, and
which means
at that point, which one is which was just, did we have to ask that question? McLeod's not too mental.
That does mean that Pinky is the genius.
Well, yes, it probably does.
It's Pinky? Pinky's genius in the same way that Jar Jar Binks was actually a Sith.
Pinky in the brain.
You know what? That was
well. I remember from that show is it says in Bill Clinton.
I wasn't even watching. I wasn't even watching Eric. It just came to me, and I was like, I have to say it.
Well, hey, welcome everybody to another edition of Push to Talk, where nobody pushes to talk, and someday missed video will actually work flawlessly throughout the beginning. And you guys all missed it. It was, the U.S. versus Europeans, who's got the best form of government and healthcare pre-show. We're not going to rehash it, but I love these guys, and it was a great conversation. I had fun. So,
I mean, we really know the answer.
My contributions was the conversation was putting my headphones on, listening to the reading, taking them off, and going to make a drink.
By the way, the much better part of the pre-show was trading, music videos that we may or may not like. I was happy that that Caleb enjoyed the Shakira video that I shared. But I think he's a little bit incorrect when he dissed the Dolphin cheerleader video when they were lip syncing Call Me Maybe, because Caleb's only comment on that video is, "Wow, that's some really bad lip syncing." Seriously,
it was.
It is horrible.
It was like video. Amtrak. It was like someone videoed their kid's show or something.
Well, they're probably kids. Russian dolls. What is
yes,
it?
no collusion here.
Resub. Oh yeah, by the way, I have to share this too. My 29-month sub. Woohoo!
I personally like this Putin suggestion of how CCP can make the game better. I think nested dolls is just what we need.
Yeah. So the whole nested doll thing. Why is it always in front of my face now? What the hell is going on? I got to see what we did. We did.
So is a battle. So I'm just wondering, is a battleship on battleship fight, like after this change, is that just basically going to be a massive birthing party?
Well,
yes, that is exactly what that will be.
So let's go right into the Russian dolls. And so what Caleb said, he postulated that CCP needs to do in order to encourage more capital fights is that, you have a Titan, you blow it up, becomes a super capital, you blow it up, becomes something smaller and smaller.
No. You can't start that escalation chain at a Titan. You have to start it at a super capital, specifically the Nyx.
You got it all wrong.
And then you go the Nyx to the Thanatos to the Dominix to the Myrmidon to the Vexor to the Algos.
Yeah, but Dirk,
to the Tristan.
Listen to me here. When you start at the Titan, when it explodes, out comes the Dread.
Oh, see,
and then out comes a Megatron.
They missed something, right? They missed a very important opportunity, right? Instead of just nested, it should also be branching. So when you die, you get 2 of the next tier down, and then a pilot.
I was going to suggest.
So it's pretty much like when you play game, Asteroids, and you shoot one and it becomes 2, and then 4, and so on and so forth.
Well, no. What I was thinking is you bring a Titan out, right? And it's like, because why only support the Russian lifestyle? Well, let's support our partners south of the United States, south of the border, the Mexicans, and let's have the piñata. Okay, you blow up a Titan, you don't know what's coming out. Could be a whole fleet of battleships, could be a couple supers, couple dreads, who knows?
I mean, I always said, when you kill a Ragnarok, it doesn't explode. It's just simply the duct tape that comes off, and it kind of spreads out into 1,000 sabers.
So
And that works.
So yeah, so we actually
Reduced to
watched
its
the How to Make
constituent
Russian
parts.
Oh, sorry. Caleb and I actually watched the How to Make Russian doll, like those nested dolls. What are they called? I should know, but Matryoshka dolls. They're actually all made by hand.
Someone is reverting back to the 90s.
They're Perestroika dolls.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
they're
that's
all
the new
handmade.
name.
And you know what? We should share that video with our friends, don't you think, Caleb?
Well, especially the way she rubs them, we like that clip.
Well, I think you like that a little more than you should have, but yeah.
Well, you started this with the cheerleaders, so you just put me in the right mood.
Well,
no comment from you, Max, please.
Watching cheerleaders lip sync is a little different than watching, an old Russian woman rub dolls.
I also like that Eric is apparently now called Dirk Stidil.
Oh yeah, hey, I didn't fix that.
Eric, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, we have to have our one problem, right?
It doesn't make the most impressive weight gain ever in 1 week.
There has to be, it's like Where's Waldo? You have to figure out what the mistake is every week.
I mean, how tall are you, Eric?
Me? I'm 5'7". I'm short.
I'm also
okay. So yeah, that is
sure...
actually a pretty impressive weight gain, to be fair. Because I was gonna give him the benefit of the doubt of like most Americans are apparently quite tall, but Eric's shorter than I am.
By the way, if you guys ever have the opportunity to meet Brisk, if you have, that dude is tall.
Like, is he actually tall, or is he just American tall?
No, he's tall.
He's a giant of a man.
Oh my god! I would have to get on my roof to look him eye to eye. Okay.
What exactly is the difference between tall and American talls?
I don't.
It's a different measurement system.
Like, Americans seem to think that you are tall when you're 6 foot, right?
In fairness,
hey,
I'm 6'4".
I'm just going to point to chat the holy thought.
Yes, and you're
I'm
tall.
really quiet. You guys made me fix my mic, and now I'm quiet. Nobody can hear me.
Well, they probably deserve it, given all the shouting that you did pre-show. Seriously, you do not want to hear Eric right now.
Rendis, it's very similar to when the Brits are fat, right? Because when you measure stuff in stones, it just sounds like you're heavier than you really are.
I see. Okay.
I am
that and the obsession with BMI.
I am
because that's totally accurate.
Measure with stones, and it makes English people sound heavier. I don't get that.
Stone, it's a weight. It's roughly 20 pounds.
But why does it make English people seem heavier?
Because they're made of stone.
Oh, okay.
Because when they say they lose weight, they literally lose stones, which sounds like they're being new.
But
I don't know. But I never want to lose my stones. I mean,
Yeah, and if anybody says that they've lost their marbles, like there's nothing to do with that whatsoever.
Brisk says it's 14 pounds. Look at that. Brisk,
it's somewhere around.
You weren't mad that I said you're tall, are you? Because you're tall.
McLeod, apparently you are like 5 stone.
What, like in terms of appearance or like
I
mannerisms? Like what?
I don't know. Direct this question at Brisk.
6'4".
So Brisk is as tall as me.
I'm not a midget, Brisk. In fact, he would never know because he's never seen me.
He ran off in November before you met him.
Exactly. I am really, actually quite upset with Brisk because none of us that.
I was annoyed that I didn't see him. I was annoyed that I didn't see him at London. But I was annoyed at the time. I'm over it now, so I'm good. I will eventually get to see Brisk.
You don't sound over it.
Well, I mean, the person who sounds like he's not over it is Dirk, to be fair.
True.
Dirk never sounds like he's over anything.
That's because I'm
He
not.
wakes up angry.
Hey, a Brisk. Hello, Brisk.
Holy shit!
I feel bad. I feel bad that I was not able to spend time with you guys in London.
You were you were very brisk in your appearance.
Brisk, I'll be totally honest. I didn't miss you in London at all.
Yeah, I didn't miss you either.
I was very fast.
Yeah, sorry.
Right, exactly.
And I apologize on not being on the
words, McLeod.
Yeah, the words. I apologize for not being on our alliance photo, and for some random reason being on Tests one.
I didn't even realize that you were there. What? You were in London? I had no idea that he was there. Where the fuck were you?
He was busy looking for a bar that was closed.
He was loitering.
No.
A few other
You know what it was?
Brisk, apparently he was looking for a box to stand on.
No, that's what I couldn't see you because I couldn't look down that far.
Exactly. No, I was struggling with the like my phone cellular network, so like I couldn't get I couldn't reassuringly get like messages on Discord, especially in the actual venue.
Well,
so like I had no idea where everyone was
in the 03 or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah,
so it was hard to communicate with people.
I mean,
I had no idea where you
guys didn't pull a me, did you? Where I turned my mobile data off, forgot it was off, and then went, "Why is my phone not working?"
Oh dear.
I mean, why didn't you do it like we did in Amsterdam, where every year we would just borrow the PL flag and use it as a meeting point?
Well, we found a spot where everybody kind of knew where we were, and Pando and Chines and me and some of the other Init guys were all hanging out up there. I get more crap because I didn't spend any time with a lot of the goons. I saw Wooly and some of the other my goon friends from Karma Fleet, and I saw them for like 5 minutes.
Fuck you.
I missed seeing other people. I know, I miss seeing you and a bunch of other people. So anyway, so I'm just hopping in to say hi. I got to go do show prep, but I wanted, since we were talking about.
Are you going to FanFest, Brisk?
As of right now, yes. I'm still trying to coordinate the work stuff. I've got my hotel room. I still got to do my flights, but I got everything else taken care of. So hopefully I'll see you guys.
Well, we will have to have a beer there then.
All right, that sounds good. All right, have a good show, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Right,
catch you later.
See you, dude.
All right, and I turned my sound up a little bit because it's evil.
Now I've got to turn Eric down in Discord.
Show, maybe turn it down. Picking on the lone American. Jeez.
Yes, the lone American in the room.
That, and by the way, guys, it's one of the things I love about this crew.
Fuck, man.
That was meant to be.
Well,
that was sarcastic in tone, horrendous. By the way,
you weren't here when they were beating up on me. Okay, just saying, you weren't here.
I mean, horrendous would probably have continued beating up on you.
To be fair, we weren't beating up on you. We were beating up on your entire country.
Guys,
we're
just.
No, let's not go down that.
Let's not turn this into a declaration of war.
No.
Relax. They can beat up on America all they want with their words. When it comes time to beat people up with anything else, we all know who they'll call.
I mean, that is true. I was about to say, don't go doing declaration of war. We don't want the 11 carriers off our ship.
I mean,
we all help our friends. That's all we're gonna say. No. It was a spirited conversation, and that's one of the nice things about this group. We can have those spirited conversations. Then we come in the show, and it's like nothing happened. Like we're we're friends, and that's nice, and I like that. So it's much appreciated, to be honest, guys.
We can be nasty to each other
in
open public.
I will think that conversation is funny for a very long time. I mean, just because we had it and it was good. So, I mean, I like it.
Is this the point where we explain your own ping to you?
Yeah. Can you please explain my ping to me that you made me write? I mean, other than the little Russian dolls, and we think CCP is going to make new ships pop out of new ships all the time now. It's the new meta.
Sorry.
I'd just like to know if it's going to be some sort of standardized frig or if you can put any frig in there.
No, they said it's T1. It's any T1 frigate, E-war frigates, logistics frigates,
and assault frigates.
And assault frigates. Yeah, you put the ship in.
Just for clarity, those T1 frigates do include faction frigates.
So did they just double your workload, Horrendous? Because now you have to do like meta. It's like meta Inception, right?
They haven't.
To do a doctrine and then a doctrine inside a doctrine.
They haven't doubled my workload at all.
We already have assault frigate doctrines. We just basically take one of those, slap it in a battleship doctrine, call it good.
There you go.
Oh, so now it's like a combo thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
But wouldn't you still have to figure out what type of combo?
Nah, you know who I feel bad for though. I feel bad for Baltic.
Oh God.
How
is Baltic supposed to be
right? Exactly. I mean, when Backcountry was still in Goons and we did Harpy fleets, he brought a Megathron on his Harpy fleet. So clearly that was his frigate. How's he going to stuff a Megathron in his Megathron?
Very carefully.
Right. I feel bad.
With lots of lube.
I feel even worse for the guy because, like, now he can legitimately put a Harpy in his Megathron and be in a Harpy on a Harpy fleet. Is he just going to decide not to follow? Actually, no, this is Baltic. Of course he's going to decide not to follow whatever they say.
How come Software actually stole McLeod's line, by the way?
Say what now?
Which line?
How do you get a battleship within a battleship with lots of lube?
There's just so much wrong with you.
Why is that my line?
What?
So
on that stuff.
I'm gonna ask a side question.
And forget the
Has someone been impersonating me?
Videos before this started.
Jesus, what? This show gets weirder and weirder every week. I swear.
Sure.
Anyway, Bard Ghost, you were gonna tangent us here.
Sort of still on topic, but I mean, now that we're doing this, I'm wondering: is this I don't know, something leading to what's the big Triglavian ship, right?
Right.
Is that we're gonna get the World Arc. The one that effectively yes. Is this hey, we're basically making it possible for you guys to do it eventually?
I doubt it. Like, my information is that this was a couple of CCPers. You know how CCP gives their employees like 20% of their work? Yeah. My information is that that this was the work of a couple of CCPers on their 20% and not specifically any team or whatever, no matter what Matterall is spouting in TIS public.
Oh, I haven't heard what he said. I'm just here like it would make sense, right? If it was a sidetrack of trying to get that.
Horrendous on the whole law thing. So basically, if I'm flying a battleship, I can eject in the frigate. But if I'm flying anything bigger than a battleship, I eject in a pod.
You can't eject. The battleship has to die for you to get to the frigate.
No, make sure you watch out for the canopy.
It's the same argument. How come I can be ejected from it in a pod when it's everything bigger than a battleship? That makes no sense. Every ship needs this feature if they're bigger than battleships. Then.
Okay, Caleb. I can explain this really simply. And when taken in context, in the completeness of context, you will understand it and you will be forced to agree with it. Okay.
Oh dear.
So we know how pod systems work, and the battleships have, or the larger ships have pod gantries in them, so that your character can, in theory, get out inside the ship. Now, with that in mind, and the differences between, for example, the different races in New Eden, and the fact that, like, we haven't heard a goddamn thing from Delegate Zero in a month, I'm figuring he's tied up in a basement somewhere and CCP's gone.
Can you repeat that last line?
Always revert to someone being tied up in a basement. We're not supposed to do
because
in here.
You know what?
Sexual activity.
Hey, Caleb, I'm going to steal your line. No kink shaming, thank you.
There is a very simple reason why Orendis refers back to people being tied up in basements very regularly, and that is because absolutely categorically, the INN editorial staff do not tie people up in basements.
That's right.
But apparently it's some sort of default in Iceland, I think.
Well, basements are where things are warm. They have to keep their guests comfortable. They're very polite abductors.
And plus,
geothermal is a thing.
All right, I'm going to say thank you to. Hold on, I'm going to say thank you to Akando and Eve Onion News for their subs and follows. So thank you.
All right, so real quick, we've got a question in chat. Who is Delegate Zero? Orendis, you're probably still the best placed one to answer that question, actually.
Delegate Zero is the guy in charge of CCP's ongoing story. There's actually 3 people, or maybe 2 now. I don't know because Falcon's involved. At the top of this whole thing, one of them, as far as the story goes, one is DZ, one is Burger. But Burger's got a lot more on his plate. DZ is basically the point of focus guy for this. Burger is just big picture and interfacing between everyone and everyone else. But a lot of the CCPers help contribute, and they're all interested in their lore, and they talk about this shit. But Easy is the guy in charge of the story.
Yeah, so to put it simply, Delegate Zero is the guy that crafts all of the backstory with input from others, pretty much.
Is he in the same basement as Manbjorn, or does he have a separate one?
No. Manbjorn, we don't even know Manbjorn exists.
Oh, so he's just a myth.
Maybe.
Like, the current working theory is that Manbjorn is like a, I don't know, some sort of...
Like a Project Melody?
CCP Sin Eater?
Yeah, that, like, Hilmar or Burger or anybody else involved in that kind of weird who is guiding the overall vision at CCP just kind of inhabits Manbjorn as they need to. They channel Manbjorn.
Are they channeling him, or is it more like demonic possession? Which is it?
Shouldn't they have
Nobody's quite sure.
I think they should have like a suit that has the whole Manbjorn thing, and then they can swap it out, and it's your turn today.
CCP chair. That's good. I like it.
I think Manbjorn is secretly an Icelandic Yule cat.
That would explain a lot.
No, really would.
We come up with some weird theories about CCPs in this show.
Well, I mean,
why else would Manbjorn need to assert that he's human? I mean, Manbjorn. Clearly, he's actually some sort of secret monster.
I'm not sure everybody is understanding what you're saying, but you did spend at least
He's trying to explain lycanthropy to you guys. It's very simple. You add man and a beast, and you pretty much have a new creature.
That's true. He basically does claim to be beware.
We are we really calling it lycanthropy?
It is. That's the definition.
Well, yeah.
Is Kate Beckinsale involved? That's what I want to know.
Let's hope so.
That would improve things a lot.
Wow.
That's a show I would watch.
What? She's a good actress. I like her work.
She actually is a good actress. She's got like a new one where she lost her husband like on a plane, and she's out searching for him. I haven't watched it yet.
And latex fits with the whole dungeon thing. Seriously, guys.
See, now you got to go and make it weird again.
Yeah.
He accuses us of being one-track minds.
So, talking about Voyage, are we going to explain Project Melody to Eric?
No.
Oh, do we have the time?
Hold up.
Do we have the time?
Let me ask 2 questions here, and then I will give you your answer. Okay. 1. Does Eric care?
I always
probably not.
I always care. I care as much about that as I care about the free banana cart that they have at Amazon.
Well, I mean, it's free bananas.
They do, from 8 to 3 every day. Free bananas.
That's a weird thing, but sure.
And dog treats everywhere. in the office.
Yeah,
that's even weirder. Like, what sort of kinks do they have at Amazon's main?
It's one of those. I'm pretty sure it's one of those offices where you can bring your dog in.
Yes, it is very much so.
Yeah, the dog treat thing is probably the only way you actually get anything productive done instead of having the dog.
You're allowed to bring your dog in. You're allowed to bring your dog in, and there's free bananas. So you're not allowed to bring your monkey in. Like what?
No monkeys.
Monkeys don't eat bananas.
No.
I mean, I'm sure
some of them do. Thought that it was weird and kink, like that I mentioned latex. And you guys are now talking about bananas and monkeys and dogs.
Bananas are healthy. They're healthy.
Monkeys eat bananas.
Nobody's talking about monkeys and bananas and dogs in that context, Caleb. It's in the context of a workplace environment. What do you do at work?
Well, I'm just saying that if you bring all of those things to the basement, there's going to be a serious party. That's for sure.
I mean, you've got to remember here, Horrendous, that Caleb here is a student, and so what he does at work is.
I'm just wondering about the educational system in Denmark.
I hear it's really great.
Apparently, it's a big party.
Experience from Caleb here is saying otherwise.
With dogs and monkeys and bananas and.
You gotta find creative ways of remembering your work. You gotta find creative ways.
Horrendous.
If what you're studying, and I imagine what Caleb is studying is particularly dry in terms of subject matter, I imagine you have to find extremely.
Whoa! People like it dry. Don't kink shame.
Hey! I wasn't saying for or against anything. I'm just saying that, like, if what you're studying is what I think Caleb is studying, he has to find extremely creative ways of having it stick in his mind.
He has a whiteboard behind him full of Hebrew. Why would you possibly think that what he is studying is dry?
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know.
Wow.
I mean, it probably is, right? Or at least it's not going to stick.
What is it? Hebrew, juicy couture of languages. It's what? I don't get it.
Look, the stuff
just going on a
studying is full of freaking adultery and murder and incest and genocide. How the hell is that dry?
Have you read the book?
What book?
The good book. The big book.
Oh god,
it's an okay book.
No comments about
there's a lot of plot
and multiple fibers in clothes and how and when we can sell people as slaves.
Look, that's just the book of law. Read any freaking law book, you'll get that.
I tell you what, that is actually the only book in the good book that I've never been able to get through.
Well, and just to point out that when you have to learn Latin, Greek, and Hebrew, right, the source material that you're reading is going to be either the good book, Greek source material, or Latin source material, and you should know that gets really juicy.
Well, I mean, it's the Greeks. Of course it gets juicy.
Let's face it, the English hadn't invented puritanicalism yet.
Yeah, this is very true.
And they were just cracking open and eating some sea urchins, right? It's kind of a Greek.
And then, Rindis, I've already told you that my favorite thing ever is actually the Vatican secret collection, the museum thing. And I will definitely see if I can get a replica of one of those statues.
Your favorite thing ever? Really?
Although, in fairness,
one thing, your favorite thing? The Vatican thing?
Yeah, in fairness, Horrendous, you've got to consider that at the same time as the Greeks were doing their whole thing, people in Britain were still celebrating Samhain and Beltane.
Greeks doing their whole thing?
Yes, being Greek. They've done it for a while now.
That's basically just Greece, in fairness. They all go to war and then they kind of don't. But at the same time, they're still all trying to compete with one another.
I don't know about you guys, but we're going out for Heroes for lunch after this show, so, you know.
You're going out... Wait,
Euros.
Eric, I didn't realize you had a
Euros.
a cannibalism restaurant.
No. Like, they are eating the money.
Yeah. Oh, well, that...
Euros.
I mean, if it's the people, I'm glad a certain event is going on.
I hope that you're eating money from some areas of Europe and not others, because some areas of Europe have plastic money, and that might not go down too well.
So yummy. All money is good.
Just remember, it's better to eat euros than dollars, because dollars are all soaked in.
I mean,
we all know where those dollars have been. Now, this is by the way, this is where we need to have Scythe back on the show, and we need him for this, because he's counted money in a money machine from certain individuals. Let the glitter fly. All right, that's all we can. That is on a show somewhere in the back. The whole conversation.
All I can imagine is like him putting a bunch of money into a money machine and it start counting, and then just a pop of
yes, absolutely. It was all over the floor when they were done. The whole floor was all glittery. It was we have that on a show. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, that happened.
McLeod.
Nice.
A bit of talcum powder puffs out, right?
And no.
Per se.
That's off of 20s, not dollar bills.
Also, shout out to Opus in Twitch chat. I can't believe that Opus Magnum at Eve Onion News has been missing this show either, because honestly, dude, there's some good material that you could riff off it.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, we go. I mean, this is gonna sound really bad, but we go deep.
Can you see you guys are tiptoeing on to actually pulling him on the show and making him a regular?
There was a wonderful thing that I saw from
from
Eve Onion the other day, and I don't think Opus Magnum, who was I believe, founder perhaps of
I'm
I think he was the founder.
He took the stick,
but maybe he took the stick, maybe he founded it. I don't remember the specifics, but yeah, Opus is a really good guy. And anyway, talking of Eve Onion, I saw a really fantastic Eve Onion thing the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And it is about the late great Project Nova.
Called it?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Called it.
I mean,
Project Nova.
A lot of people.
I'm not sure if that's just Raven's pain.
Project Nova was
brace yourself.
Was the spiritual successor to Dust 514.
Dirk, no. Legion was the spiritual successor.
No, yes, you're right.
Legion died, and Nova was the successor to that.
So, Dust 514 existed in the 2014 to 2016 period-ish?
Yes.
Somewhere around there.
It was the end of the PS2's life cycle. PS3's life cycle.
PS3, yeah. And Dust 514 was a first-person shooter that was in the EVE universe, and you could actually do a couple of bits in EVE Online with your spaceship to vaguely impact Dust 514 a little bit. You could bombard planets from space with your ship, and that was about it. But you could do a thing in EVE that would impact the Dust 514 game a little bit.
And you could see the players in local.
And you could see this in local, and
you get kill mails with players.
Yeah,
you'll get kill players
it was
players is great.
It was a cool little concept, and Dust was killed when the PS3 died. Pretty much.
Did you guys see what it did?
It survived a good while after PS3, to be honest.
I think McLeod noticed.
It did go for a while.
And then the CCP announced Project Legion, which was going to be based out of Shanghai in, I believe, 2016. My memory, if memory serves, it was 2016.
I don't remember us getting a date, in all honesty. I just remember seeing two different concepts.
I think it means what it announced.
Yeah, when it was announced as Project Legion. And then about a year to 15 months after Project Legion was announced, it was cancelled. And a few months after that, we had Project Nova. Project Nova was then debuted at EVE Vegas 2018.
17 first.
Well, yeah, but they actually
gave
a
17. They
it was announced. I think it was announced. 17, then
okay.
debuted 18.
Let me be more clear. Let me clarify. There was a playable demo of Project Nova at EVE Vegas 2018.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
all of that doesn't really matter. There's been playable demos and in-house playable demos of so many things that CCP has made.
No, Caleb.
The question is, where does the resources for these things go? Do they go in the same dungeon with Manbjorn and
No. We've already established different dungeons, Caleb. We can't put them all in the same place. Yes, because
so the projects go in another dungeon. Is that like a dead letter office thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, let's hop back onto this quick, because I know where you're going, Dirk, and I want to kind of turn it back afterwards. You say.
Point is, the title of the EVE Onion piece that I linked in the stream chat is Project Nova is the latest success in diverting resources, and there's a funny little comment in here, which is, quoted to a CCPer that I'm not going to mention because it's obviously fucking satire, but consider all the titles we've released or almost released to date, such as Dust, Valkyrie, Nova, EVE Echoes, as well as all the ones unrelated to EVE. These all represent a two-pronged, low-bar strategy approach to managing expectations with EVE Online. By announcing resources are being diverted from EVE Online, we can keep the bar low on expectations for the only thing we have actually released.
No, they have one other successful game. They have one other successful game. It's called Spark.
Spark, yeah.
This is just... You should read the entire thing.
Well, actually, to be completely fair, you have
to ask EVE Onion a question on this one.
He can just come here and answer it.
Yeah.
If you have attention.
How does it feel to have reached parity with the actual Onion for we're putting shit out there that is completely factually true?
This is like real life stuff, horrendous, for fuck's sake. Why do you think all the comedians are moving into politics?
So,
because
they literally did that in what the fuck is it, Ukraine?
Yeah, and they are actually doing a good job in some countries.
Yeah, it couldn't get any fucking worse.
So an interesting factoid just popped on my phone. I believe it was you, Soth. I'm not sure who. By the way, we were talking about...
Soth is an interesting factoid?
No, he mentioned something that suddenly popped up as a factoid in my Facebook feed.
We all know you can trust all the information on Facebook.
I think it was you, Soth, but you guys are going to correct me. Maybe it was McLeod. I'm not sure. But we were talking about, the Cold War and back in, U.S. versus Russia Cold War thing going on and things like that. And hockey was mentioned as one of the big things. And today is the 40th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice when our U.S. hockey team beat that Russian hockey team. That was pretty cool for you Americans.
So,
if you were alive.
So when the Americans successfully colluded against Russia instead of the other way around.
Exactly.
I will just point out. All right. You can tell we were the good guys in that one because Kurt Russell.
Yes, that was a great movie, by the way, Mike. You will catch my one son watching that movie on any given weekend. He loves that movie. Yes.
Are we going to segue into some sort of paging Dr. Sutton?
What?
If we don't, then we're probably doing badly here.
Just to be clear, we still haven't explained the reference in the.
No, it's not. No. Shush.
Come at the end.
Okay. No, it won't.
Also,
Eric will be left perpetually wondering.
Much like most people who watch Project M.
I'm looking at a picture of Shamrock
Melody.
Shakes.
That'll come at the end.
Okay, I'm good. I don't care. Shamrock Shakes are out. I'm good.
Okay. Right, so
Shamrock Shakes. The fuck is a Shamrock Shake?
Seriously?
It's a fucking month early. What the hell?
It's a mint milkshake at McDonald's.
A mint milkshake.
It's the only time like I'll go to McDonald's is to get a
why would you make such a thing?
Mint milkshakes are awesome.
Wait.
I thought when you were talking about
seriously, what the hell is that? It's 2 weeks.
I thought when you were talking about a Shamrock Shake, like McDonald's,
Why are
got
they
a fucking
those on the market
license to sell alcohol.
They go out and they go out.
It's getting as bad. It's getting as bad as fucking Christmas shit that starts before fucking.
Don't even go there with Eric.
Yeah.
It's
Please
the
don't.
20.
Stay back, Eric. Stay back.
I love Christmas shit out all the time. You know, I'm a member
Eric,
of the
I
olden
don't
days of
like
Christmas Facebook page that posts Christmas shit all year long. Horrendous, I'll have you know.
Dirk will probably echo this one with me because, you know, I know that you work in a similar industry. I do not like fucking Christmas because it starts turning up in our stores. Like, in October.
The idea that we have Christmas songs in early November, and it's every like fucking 6th or 7th song, and then just as you edge closer to December, like it just starts getting more frequent to the point where you're listening to the same playlist effectively of songs on the 1st of December, where every 3rd song is a Christmas song. And every, 7th or 8th Christmas song is a repeat of a song you heard 40 minutes ago.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, no.
Fuck you!
When I'm doing, a normal shift, it basically becomes, hey, this song's up next, because I remember that song. And it's up again. And it's just
I still have Christmas music flashbacks from when I was working retail, okay? Just... No.
Yeah. Elisip, what else does November have? November has one of the absolute best things that you can celebrate in any given year.
Peace and fucking quiet.
Well, I mean, in the
Day.
I was gonna say in the UK we celebrate someone almost blowing up our parliament.
And our king, specifically
November's got a lot of good stuff if you're willing to actually celebrate it. You've got Guy Fawkes Day. In America, you've got Thanksgiving. Pretty much anywhere in the Western world, there's fucking Armistice Day, or Veterans Day in the US.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what's worth celebrating? I mean, Jesus Christ, the end of World War I. Who the hell celebrates that?
Was there a comma in there?
Sorry, Derek, just to clarify, we don't celebrate the guy who tried blowing up our parliament and king. We celebrate the execution of the guy.
I mean, speak for yourself.
Oh, I mean, I'm not saying that I wouldn't totally...
No, I'm just saying...
celebrate the guy who tried it now.
There you go, a little Christmas music for you, Brenda. Is that good?
And I didn't know Guy Fawkes.
Do McLeod and I feel that the anonymous mask being taken from Guy Fawkes is cultural appropriation? No.
God, no. It's appropriate as well.
Take it. This is you standing up against the powers that be that are trying to oppress you. Fucking go for it.
Besides, everybody knows Anonymous didn't take it from Guy.
It was taken from V for Vendetta.
They took it from Hugo Weaving.
Yes, which was then which was a play.
And he took it from Alan Moore.
The whole. Did you see actually, or
we all borrow the best parts.
I did today in the mirror, and I gotta say I'm not like.
No comment on that one. Did you see though that Alan Moore broke his fantastic streak of I'm missing a word at this point.
Sounds like it's an important one too.
Yeah,
Alan Moore just an American Shakespeare with less dick jokes.
Alan Moore was very specifically against voting generally. He was see that's the word that I'm missing, the one that describes
anti-establishment.
He's abstained and boycotted the democratic process for a while.
Yes, but did you actually see that in the most recent UK election he went, okay, fuck not voting anymore. If you want to see people not die, either vote Labour or just don't vote Tory. He actually weighed in on that one.
Yeah, that didn't work too well, considering the
it
result
didn't,
that occurred.
but it was interesting in terms of, okay, Alan Moore is actually getting involved in this shit? What the fuck?
Yeah, that should have been like a fucking news article, like a
It was.
news article in itself. Like, bigger than what it was, though, but you know.
Fair. That's fair. That deserved more airtime. Unfortunately, the news cycle nowadays is like 8 or 12 hours.
Yeah.
So here's a very important Eve question for all of you.
Oh, I wanted to bring this back. I wanted to bring it back to Eve and like that kind of stuff by saying, do you think that the whole kind of like Dust 514 and then out of that came, Project was it Legion, and then
Legion
from that
and
Project Nova? Do you think
then,
that was like the start of their like CCP's kind of like sort of idea of nested dolls?
No.
I mean, yes. No. That's how they learned to go in loops, because the latest version they're working on is the early version of what Legion was claimed to be effectively.
No.
This is a new project.
It's the exact same pattern of behavior, I'm sorry, Caleb, that killed World of Darkness.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's when it started.
This is CCP's MO. Get used to it.
Thankfully, killed World of Darkness, but because
we're not used to it.
True.
But really,
that's a divisive.
Being a disappointment. Like what?
Can we just point out that the guys that are now working on the new project that this has been folded into, pretty much might actually deliver something.
They deliver something.
We need to take that as an outtake for the new intro, the laugh.
Can I just point out?
No, because when CCP tries to do something themselves, it fucks up, right?
No.
But when they actually outsource and collaborate with someone, they usually deliver something like Gunjack, like Valkyrie. So now they're working with a company that is actually capable of delivering something.
No, but
who is this company?
Really, yeah.
The one that did the what's it called?
You mean Sumo,
Cataclysm
right?
3? Is that?
Hey.
You mean Sumo Digital?
Yes.
The ones who were working on Nova and didn't deliver.
No, they didn't. They were working on the other project, not Nova.
They were also working on Nova.
I just want to point out that CCP did actually manage to deliver something on Nova, and it was fucking awful. So
yeah.
So, not gonna lie, it looked like a reskinning.
So let's get
of,
down
like,
to brass tacks here. Let's get down to brass tacks.
Unreal Tournament.
Who among us is actually watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Nope.
No.
Seriously?
Nope.
You need to watch it.
Stuff that I've got on my watch list at the moment is Picard, and honestly, if you haven't seen the latest episode, like Jesus Christ, go and watch it.
It's good.
If you're not watching Picard, then I'm not sure I want you watching the show. Sorry, not sorry.
Right now,
half of the show.
Thanks for killing our audience there, Dirk.
What are you watching?
I'm watching a Mets game. Spring training's on.
Spring training? Seriously?
Yeah.
I hate baseball.
I'm sorry.
I do. I think it's just the most boring sport. I mean, I'd rather watch cricket.
That's really ironic, given that like when you actually watch a football game, there's something like a total of 17 actual
hand egg game.
I just hate
no,
baseball.
Sorry, Dirk. But Eric and I, we're Merkins. We're speaking Merkin.
It's a hand egg game. It's not a football game.
It's also not rugby.
You go away with your little Euro-ness, Mr. X Euro.
Like do you actually introduce the ball to your feet at any point in a hand egg game?
Yes.
Can I just take a poll here? How many Euros have we got in chat versus how many Americans?
We can have 0 euros in chat in 2 seconds.
Eric will just shut the stream down.
Nobody will watch the show either.
Look. I'm gonna go full Dennis Leary here. All right. I don't fucking care how many years you are. Let's have a poll here. How many nukes does each country have? Thank you.
France actually has quite a few.
And how many maniacs in charge do you have who are perfectly willing to use them if they get a hangman?
I take
you have us there.
Different.
You do kind of have us there, but I'm pretty sure that.
I mean,
Boris
sure, you
Johnson
got Bojo, but
combined with some of the Eastern Europeans could probably give Trump a run for his money in terms of the way they all go hard.
Probably.
I mean,
they go what?
You've just got to look at the Italians to wonder what the fuck's going on.
Oh my god!
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure.
But the Italians have Monica Bellucci, so.
So one other thing to talk about in EVE Online at the moment: new filaments.
Yes, the reindeer filaments are coming back in a manufacturable form.
Yeah.
Yay!
I am still split on that.
And then they all ate Robin's minstrels. And there was much rejoicing.
Let's band-aid over sucking to us chest wounds. Yay!
Well,
okay,
what
I
find interesting
what I was
is,
going to say, yeah.
You know,
space is too big. How do we counter space being
too big?
No.
People playing EVE is lower. Metrics keep going lower. But CCP keeps making more money.
Therefore, instead of fix what's causing it to go lower, they just band-aid over it because more.
Yeah, but that's a bubble, and it's gonna burst.
Look,
sure
no, don't tell them it's a bubble. They don't have any economists to tell them that internally.
Look, guys. Yes, it's a band-aid on a sucking chest wound. Do we have any hope at all that they're going to address the sucking?
No.
Then why?
Actually.
Then why bitch about a couple stitches?
No. That's why I say I'm really split on it.
Because I
put a fucking
remember
bucket down.
Because I remember what our FCs and I mean certain FCs did with that band-aid the last time we had it.
Oh no, we're in a bind. Let's use one of those, and we're away.
Yeah, that was kind of the tactic that happened. Okay, we'll use one to get there, and then we'll make sure we have one in reserve. If we get in a bind, we'll just leave again. But you know,
and we all know that's how it's going to play out again.
It's one of those things where one of the fundamental issues in EVE at the moment is, especially in nullsec, like you highsecers can get pretty much anywhere in 20 jumps and call it good. In nullsec, you know, we're talking about if you don't use jump gates, if you can't use jump gates to get to somewhere, you're talking about, you know, 20 jumps at least to get into deep hostile space. And that's a bit of an issue because, you know, you're talking about if you're in destroyer fleets, you're talking about maybe a jump and a half a minute if you're lucky. So you're 20 minutes in, 15 minutes in before you even get to try and find people to shoot that might shoot back at you in any particular fighting fashion. And I suppose this is what disappoints me about EVE, right? So much of what EVE has become now is just whaling in one form or another. We're hunting Rorquals, we're hunting super capitals, we're hunting hell. We're out here in a bunch of fucking Dramiels or whatever, hunting a Vexa Navy issue or an Ishtar. It just
You know what's both amazing and really horrible about that statement? It's completely true if you take it to mean whaling WHAL-ing or WAIL. So much of EVE these days is just whaling.
Both, right?
Yeah, I'm good at that, Horrendous. Thanks. I appreciate the compliment.
Is it really whaling though? If you're hunting small targets?
Wasn't it always like this? No, it wasn't always like this.
You know,
it was nowhere close to this. You know, you had. I mean, sure, there was always an element of the.
There was an element of
power in nullsec. You know, you always had territory that you owned and territory that you didn't. But you know, back when, back before interceptors and bubble nullification existed, you had gate camps, and people would run into your gate camps, and
when
you.
But they would also kind of know that there would be gate camps, so they would be like, "Let's go and break that gate camp."
Yeah, and so you'd have this fun kind of brawl, and it's just.
I mean, can I jump on this quick? Because one of the ones that always. One of the ones
we're going to beat Eric and let him overrun make us overrun at this point. So jump ahead.
And also to the chat with nobody had permanent gate camps. Yeah, KBP in.
I am sorry.
Gate camp.
I am sorry. I am right here, and you're claiming we didn't have permanent gate camps.
Fucking Toranos and ECTAC always had a gate camp.
EC Gate, Head GP always had a camp.
Yep.
I mean, that's going back years. I mean, AAA used to camp that every day.
Never mind the idea of a hell camp. Do you know when the last true hell camp was?
And Dirk, fighting on Station Undocks, right?
Yeah.
Because Tether didn't exist.
Well, but seriously, you want to know when the last true hell camp was? And I'm impressed that this was the last true hell camp, because it was on a Citadel. It was fucking Judgment Day.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time we truly managed a hell camp, and that took like 3 alliances, a bunch of effort, and
what did it even achieve?
And an epic,
and an epic backstab.
Yeah.
You know, so it's these things where, sure, we've improved in some ways. Pos mechanics were awkward and needed to be removed, but like, I don't know. I kind of understand the way, at the moment at least, I kind of understand the nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
you know, when you sit there and say, you know, we used to, siege a station, hell camps, right, for days in our video game, and people would look at me and say, well, how do you do that? How do you coordinate that? I mean, are you serious? Somebody yes, hundreds of people surround a station and don't let people dock or undock, and they blow them up if they do. And they're like, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Right?
All right.
And it seems like all the things that were amazing in this game have been removed by the developer.
Yeah, they're gone.
I do want to...
It's because you want to know why. You kind of want to know why. Like, it's because they're not accessible enough to new players.
I really do want to address what Elisip said there, in that he thinks we all have rose-tinted glasses here. And, you know, there
is a degree of that. Right.
There is always a degree of that. When you look back at the stuff that you used to do compared to the way you do now, there is always an element of, okay, I'm remembering this thing fondly, and therefore I want to remember it well. But
I mean, we're forgetting being on the receiving end of it, which certainly wasn't fun.
Sure.
But the thing is, it existed, and it was fun to be on the doing it side.
Well, if we're saying that the things that sucked in the game are remembered fondly, how bad does the game suck now?
I love how this criticism of nostalgia comes just in the wake of the Picard suggestion, right? Because seriously, this is exactly the same thing. So much of the sci-fi that comes out these days is just crap. And when you go back to the old stuff, when they could actually do things that was novel, and when they could do serials and all of these things, back then things were better. Sure, it was not as good production value because we didn't have all the accessible tech that we have today. but they could actually write and they could make shows that fucking worked. And it's just exactly the same with games. If you look at how much nostalgia has been out there in gaming, it's exactly the same thing, because back in the day when we started making games, we focused on playability and not this lowest common denominator, everyone fucking wins and get a prize bullshit.
Yeah, okay, so another thing from chat. Zomgwert says that Bernjita was one of these things that people remember well, and it is. But he's right in that it's not possible anymore, and it used to be a major event that brought outside eyes to Eve. You know, we had the Hulkageddon, which gave birth to Bernjita 1, and then, you know, Bernjita became kind of something of a regular thing, and it was a lot of fun, and it had a bunch of... Yeah. Bernjita had a ton of interesting aspects to it, and it's dead now. It's not dead because there aren't people who want to run it. It's not dead because there aren't people who want to be, you know, high-set ganking in that kind of manner. It's dead because CCP made changes that killed it in the way that we could run it. It would be... It would be physically possible to run Bernjita now. I want to say that. It would be physically possible. But the amount of man-hours and support individuals that would be required to run Bernjita in the way we used to at the moment would be fucking insane.
It's another one of those, under the modern take of Eve, it's not worth it. But if this was 5 or 6 years ago and people wanted to put that effort in, it would have been a go right ahead. Because back then it felt worth it. Now, meh.
I know you guys are gonna rage at me, but I do think that CCP might be slowly waking up to the fact that they need to roll back some of these things and go back to some of the old gameplay and the incentives that we used to have. And I do think that this whole depletion on resources is step one. I know that it's not enough in and of itself, because it's not that simple in Eve. But I do think that many of the things that I have been seeing and hearing from CCP the last 6 months points to the fact that maybe they're starting to recognize that to fix the game, they need to roll some of the things back to how it was in the past.
I think it's too little, too late.
I think whoever's thinking that is probably in the basement, tied up with Ren's friends or something. I don't know.
I think being a too little, too late is a little bit like, you know, ignorant of the fact that there is a lot of fucking people in the world.
There is, but there's a fraction of what there used to be, and I'm doubtful they'll come back.
Well, I'm sure that Elusive in chat is somewhere between 20 and 30 years of age, right? And he's watching all that old stuff. And I think it's exactly the same with Eve. We bring it back to how it was, and we will get new blood.
So we're going back to Dominion Sov, or are we going back to Pod?
No. Not the broken parts. Leave the fixes. But some of the things that made the old game fun, right?
Well, it wasn't Fozzie Sov that made the old game fun. Yeah. Let's start there.
Aegis Sov is not fun. I mean, it's better than it was when it first released.
I mean,
you know, I disagree.
Bring back Dominion Sov.
Here's a weird question
that they put in a lot of these cases. It's the fixes that broke it.
Yeah, but
so if you guys didn't know,
they didn't iterate on the facts on the things that they promised, and they left out the parts that were going to make the things that they changed good. For some reason, they keep doing this, and they've done this like 5 or 6 times over the past 8 years. And it's like I don't know if it's arrogance, or if they're drunk, or if it's a hold my beer moment. But every time they bring in something and say, "Okay, here we go, we've now delivered." Yeah, but you didn't deliver what we were promised. And you didn't actually put the parts in that was needed to make this awesome.
It's been happening. It's CCP's MO, dude. Like, I was gonna say something a little different about Dominion Sov, but like your point the point that I was going to make is works with what you've just said as well. Is that Dominion Sov? If you do bring back Dominion Sov, that'd be fantastic. Just make sure you bring it back with all of the additional features that weren't implemented previously. Because Dominion Sov had a whole bunch of other stuff in there that was going to make it a lot more, a lot more interesting and a lot more kind of nuanced. It just never happened.
No. 2 seconds. On this topic, real quick, what would people in this channel prefer? Engaging in FozzieSov or engaging in a Citadel bash every day for 2 weeks to kill the thing?
Neither.
Yeah.
I'd rather run sub.
Yeah.
That just shows
by not logging in on either of those.
That just shows that none of you have actually taken part in the fights we had surrounding FozzieSov. Because those actually happened. Because CCP has put fixes into FozzieSov. It is not perfect, right? Don't get me wrong. They can still improve there. But FozzieSov is not what it used to be when they first pushed it out, right? It is not just like 10 Scepter fleets running around trying to outkill each other's hackers anymore.
No, now we drop faxes. Now we actually have things that are worth dropping fleets on to kill. It's...
Yeah.
It is a different environment, but it's still
I just don't like
not.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but the thing is, how often do those fights actually happen?
Let's put it this way: if we were back in Dominion Sov, I would engage in Sov warfare. I do not engage in FozzieSov.
That's actually.
By the way, we're at the limit, and I do have a 2:00 hard stop. I have to go do something.
Shut up,
so we have
Eric.
to do one last thing. So this is your one last thing.
Eric.
What?
I got a meeting. Bye.
Yeah. What do you want, Dirk?
I mean, I was enjoying the conversation.
Don't just to kill it, right? Because you're just getting onto some of the stuff that's actually important.
No, what were you going to say, Dirk?
I was gonna go ahead and I was gonna ask Sothersil a question, and you've just fucked my train of thought there, Eric. Thank you.
Sorry. I did not.
You are a terrible fucking person.
Because everyone was being kind of not ragey, but a little bit disgruntled, and the whole thing is shit. And I'm just gonna say that having played this game since day one, right? I'm just pointing out that it looks as if CCP are actually kind of waking up again, because they have been sleeping at the helm for at least 8 years, in my opinion, and completely undermined and almost destroyed their game. Right. Now at least there are moves towards something that will fix this. And whether we're talking about things like Talos, or the fact that Rattati is actually going to try and do something about resources, something that was not even discussed for at least the last 5 years. It was not even on the table, right? And they are rolling out things like looking at rebalancing things like Titans. We're going to get that in about 2 weeks, right? So now it looks as if they're back and actually working. Whereas in the past, it felt like they were just giving us weird fluff and triangles and dumb events and pink skins, right?
Okay, so Caleb picked up on a train of thought that wasn't where I was going, and I did remember it as Caleb was talking through that. And my point was, to Sothersil, incentive. How often do we get these FozzieSov fights? How much of that is down to whether or not there is an incentive for us to engage in these kind of fun, just let's see who wins kind of battles?
I mean, I've said that so many times now that I think if I say the word incentive one more time on the show, I will get banned from saying it completely.
I will never ban you from saying anything.
Word stack, Sothersil.
We don't have thought police on Twitch.
I do need to ask you guys to go around and do one last thing, because I really do have a stop I have to go to.
God, Eric, so demanding this week.
Right. But
you couldn't even turn up last week, and yet you're here bullying.
Well, I was kind of here. I still have a cold, if you can't tell. I've been muting and coughing every once in a while. But
now that he is here, he knows that like the one last thing is going to take an extra 45 minutes. So like, unlike last week's.
Right. Bargos, you're up. One last thing.
I want to see what they're doing for the super and I was going to say super and tight nerf. It's not. It's a capital nerf of some form. I want to see because it could be good or it could be. I would say the first meh thing we get from Talos, but I might be forgetting.
Okay.
It needs to be substantial though.
All right, Caleb.
Well, I'd just like to say that in the wake of all this mineral resource change debacle that everyone has had an opinion about, and then of course we got the whole squirrel moment with red dots and baby frigates. The point is that I feel that when you combine many of the things that we have heard from CCP now, whether you're talking about proper iteration on things like structures, proper iterations on things like supers and titans, proper iterations on things like moon mining, and potentially even putting in some sort of design that actually works in conjunction with the SOV system that actually creates a real incentive for sovereignty. All of these things, if CCP starts looking at these things in unison, then they will actually hit a point where the game is going to be so much better than it's been for the last 8 years. Because as I have written about and talked about for a long time now, the problem was that they were doing the exact opposite. They kept making small changes that had collateral effects on the next change. So whether you're talking about anomalies being infinitely respawnable, rock pools actually being able to suck everything out of that, and all of these things where they just had compounding effects. Then you got the SP farming. All of these things were just thought out in isolation without looking at how is this going to destroy the rest of the game. It looks as if they're now doing the opposite. And I know that there are some people that are not a fan of Rattati, but having cyberstalked him a little bit, he might actually have the capacity skill-wise to do this because he actually speaks proper math and data science, right? So I'm not saying that he's a messiah like Rise, because he is a messiah, but he's potentially really close when it comes to macroeconomics.
All right. Next week, we'll get the Cliff's Notes version of that. All right, Mist, you're up.
Dick.
McLeod, you're not allowed to say yes, please.
Mr. Warden, can't hear you, like, we're speaking to you, Mist Warden.
I think his son card is dead.
Mist Warden is dead.
McLeod, you're up.
I was going to touch on the fact that we now have CCP Rattati as I think he's labeled himself as
lead developer for ecosystem.
Yeah, ecosystem development
along those lines.
Like there were it was a few. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't claim to. No. I don't claim it to be the case that I asked CCP for something and then it occurred.
I think
like, it could very much well have been
ecologist, not a developer associated with the ecosystem. He asked for an actual ecologist,
and this was the closest that they had in house already.
Well, I mean, I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be like, you know, a fucking sort of like I'm an ecologist. It says it on the door kind of thing.
I mean,
like,
Caleb,
you know, I'm up for Rattati, you know, showing, you know, how kind of, you know, how professional, how good he is at, you know, being able to understand the ecology of EVE Online.
Title should be on the cloud, you know, bitch, but you
know, I would love to have a chat with him. I'm sure Caleb would love to have a chat with him as well. You know, whatever. But right. I just the one thing which I am you know saddened that we never got around to is to talk about or to explain Project Melody to Eric. But never mind.
Yeah.
These things happen.
Okay, Dirk, did I miss you? Go ahead.
Yeah, you little shit.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say that.
Damn Yankee.
Yeah, you are a damn Yankee, and you can fucking put up with it. I was just gonna say that Caleb's optimism is well received. I like Caleb's optimism here, but I'm still looking for a vision here. I want to see why I should stick around for the next 2 years? You know, where are we going? What's actually gonna get done? What's the focus? And this comes back to something I was saying last week and have been saying for a number of years, back to the topic of banging the drum. I think we're in that weird Incarna phase where we're waiting for things to be fixed, but we're just kind of going, well, shit's broken. Are we just gonna keep accepting that greed is good here? Is this where we're at? So yeah, I'm hoping, but I'm not expecting as yet.
There you go. Soth?
I'm gonna go even further here. Until I see an actual devlog with the planned changes to tackle these big issues that we keep talking about for like 2 years now, like I'm gonna completely disagree that CCP has woken up. Until we see that fucking devlog with actual changes, you can claim whatever you want, but CCP has not woken up.
Words, not deeds.
All right, well, I think we can fix everything related to mining is if we just make Rourke Worlds when they blow up, birth out Hulks, we'd be good. That's my one last thing.
So, Eric.
What? You had your last thing. You can't talk again.
No, Mistwarden put his in chat.
My wife's going to kill me.
Read Mistwarden's one last thing,
I'm
damn
in trouble with Mrs. Eric.
Read Mistwarden's one last thing.
All right, where is it?
I'll just say it. He would like everyone to know that if you get a 404 error on Amazon, it's a picture of an employer.
Employer's dog.
Okay.
Employer's dog.
Employer.
Not an employer.
Link in chat. Link in chat.
It's just you like your mic just basically cut off when you said employer.
Reload the page. It's a different doc every time.
Yep.
Nice. Okay.
McLeod, my mic didn't cut off. That's what he wrote, so I read it as he wrote.
Oh, okay.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Employer dog.
Thank you, everybody out there, for putting up with another show and all of us, and thank you, all of us, putting up with all of us. And
I don't know why you guys do it.
And we will see you all again next week. And I have to go because I'm in trouble with Miss Eric because I yelled at her because I got to make time to do something, and she said, "Well, get off your goddamn show and let's go do it." All right, later. There you go. Button push. There we go.